I didn't know. Anthony is great man. It's great boxer. It's Olympic champion.
For the prize fight. You know, AJ, I said to him last night, I said, you know, if we get this fight, I said, you've never really had a touch like this. You've never really had an easy fight. And some people will say, oh, what about Francis Ngannou? Francis Ngannou borderline beat Tyson Fury. Going into that fight, people were saying, this is a dangerous fight. AJ
I think he's the favorite if they fight each other now.
Що ти будеш коментувати в студії, коли буде бій між ними, між Тайсоном і Джошуа? Які будуть твої преференції, коли кого ти будеш?
Yeah. Maybe it's Anthony Joshua.
Knockout points?
I don't know. Maybe points.
Alexander Usyk dismantles Jake Paul with a calm precision that hides a chilling warning. Every movement, every punch from Usyk tells a story. This isn't a YouTuber stepping up. This is a fighter stepping into genuine danger. Jake Paul isn't moving up in class. He's moving into the jaws of a machine. Anthony
Last
Joshua
fight,
isn't a sparring partner. He isn't someone who
Because
fakes intensity
Anthony
for
is Olympic
clicks.
champion.
He's an Olympic-level destroyer,
Fight
a heavyweight trained to capitalize on every opening. And Usyk knows the difference better than anyone. He understands what it takes to survive in the upper echelon of boxing, and he sees Paul for what he truly is: untested, inexperienced, and dangerously overmatched. Carl Froch doesn't soften a single word. He tears through Jake Paul's hype with surgical precision.
Even though he's past his best,
To
even though he's
Froch,
seen better days,
this isn't a fight. It's an
down the
execution
middle.
waiting
He's
to
got a nice
happen.
bit of distance,
Joshua's
and fake
fundamentals
Paul can't
alone,
fight. He just
the
can't. I don't
simplest
care
of
what anybody
1-2
tells me.
combinations,
He can't fucking
could
fight. He
end
lost to
Jake
Tommy
Paul's
Fury
night
for
before
crying
it
out
even
loud.
begins. When Froch calls a fighter fake, in boxing terms, it isn't criticism. It's a death sentence. And that's exactly how he frames Paul. Every boast, every confident claim from Jake is a self-fulfilling prophecy, a loud warning not to Anthony Joshua, but to himself. The louder the bravado, the greater the chasm between YouTuber spectacle and heavyweight reality.
Like, I'm genuinely sorry. Like, I want to apologize in advance because I know the emotional turmoil you're going to go through. You're going to go into hiding. That's who you are. You love to go and hide. And so that's what's going to happen.
Reality. Johnny Nelson breaks it down clinically. He strips away all hype and spectacle, revealing a cold truth. Anthony Joshua doesn't play games. He doesn't poke or test. He demolishes. And Jake Paul, with all his showmanship and charisma, is waving a plastic...
Because Jake Paul is crazy. If he thinks he can get it with Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and play tiddlywinks, I don't think AJ plays touch. He plays knock the F out.
Fork at a sleeping tank. Money may tempt him into the ring, but Nelson's tone leaves no doubt. Once the bell rings, Jake stops being a showman. He becomes a target, exposed in a way that social media followers can't shield him from. Duke McKenzie steps in with rational clarity. He reminds everyone that Jake Paul hasn't earned this shot.
Like he's beaten,
he hasn't faced real heavyweights,
4 or 5,
hasn't been punched by giants, hasn't survived the intensity of elite competition. Anthony Joshua, an 18-stone disciplined powerhouse, isn't stepping in for clicks or views. He's stepping into a fight that demands skill, experience, and composure, all areas where Paul falls short. McKenzie frames the fight in stark terms. This isn't matchmaking, it's mismatchmaking at its most dangerous. Derek Chisora is equally uncompromising. He sees the fight in one light. Jake Paul must not merely lose, he must be obliterated. There is no halfway point, no competitive narrative. Chisora emphasizes the stakes. If Jake survives past a couple of rounds, the real danger shifts, but the reality is brutal. This isn't a spectacle, it's a lesson in consequences. Del Boy underscores the necessity of speed, precision, and brutal clarity. A fight that must end decisively to reinforce the message. Even Logan Paul, usually a vocal supporter, is forced into disbelief. Watching Jake's confidence teeter.
You're fighting when and why? I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm fucking him.
What? I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm him.
Holy shit, just let me take a second. Is this motherfucker out of
Dude, it's light work.
Light work.
Into recklessness, Logan can't help but recognize the gap. Hype and bravado mean nothing against the power and experience of Joshua. Calling AJ light work only reveals how out of touch Jake is with the realities of heavyweight boxing. Logan's shock underscores the gravity of the situation. This is not a fight, it's a potential catastrophe. Johnny Nelson delivered.
Now the problem's this: if Anthony Joshua doesn't turn up, even that Anthony Joshua doesn't turn up should beat Jake Paul. And there's just that 1% that makes you think, could he? Could Anthony Joshua slip up here? Because it's a no-win situation for AJ. If he goes the distance, you struggle with a domestic fighter like Jake Paul. If he gets wobbled or get hurt, how can you let a domestic fighter, a YouTuber?
Perhaps the harshest breakdown yet. He explains that Anthony Joshua, even half switched off, should dominate Jake Paul. Any lapse in execution is Jake's liability, not Joshua's. If Jake lands anything, it's a fluke. And even then, Joshua's experience ensures that he avoids real danger. The fight becomes a test of damage control for the champion, not a showcase for the YouTuber. Eddie Hearn brings a promoter's perspective, adding another layer of caution. His warning.
But I said to Jake Paul, you ain't in a box, mate, and this ain't David Blaine. I said, so just be careful, because AJ will take your head clean off your shoulders, and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you take on that responsibility, and we all have to, so we got to think about that. But this is Anthony fighting a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. It's not something that we would normally do.
Isn't hype, it's protection. He understands precisely what happens when a fighter with limited experience faces someone of Joshua's caliber. He knows the stakes. This isn't influencer boxing or exhibition entertainment. This is Anthony Joshua, former unified heavyweight champion, capable of ending careers with a single right hand. Calling Jake a top 50 cruiserweight is Hearn's polite way of saying, Jake Paul has no business standing across from a man like Joshua. The gap isn't just large, it's dangerous. Frank Warren approaches the situation with measured realism. He doesn't sensationalize, he doesn't exaggerate. He simply acknowledges the risk. Jake Paul isn't ignorant. He trains, he works, he prepares. But none of that changes the cold facts. Stepping into a heavyweight ring with Anthony Joshua is entering a different world entirely. Licensed or not, Jake Paul is taking a gamble where a single misstep could have catastrophic consequences. Warren emphasizes that belief alone is insufficient. Survival requires elite skill, timing, and composure, all in areas where Paul remains untested. Derek Chisora doesn't even entertain the notion of competitiveness. In his mind, this fight has only one plausible ending, and it's ugly. Chisora echoes this reality, respecting both entertainment and excitement.
Whatever happens will be exciting.
Does he have the power to knock out Joshua?
Nah, he hasn't got the power to knock out Joshua.
How does that fight end?
Jake Paul going in an ambulance, bro.
But refusing to sugarcoat the truth. Jake Paul lacks the size, the power, and the experience to challenge Joshua for even a single moment. When Chisora bluntly mentions ambulance, he isn't dramatizing. He's speaking from experience, having faced monsters in the heavyweight division and understanding precisely what elite power does when unleashed. To Chisora, this fight isn't a spectacle. It's a medical emergency waiting to happen. Tommy Fury adds further clarity. He doesn't mince words. The difference between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua isn't just skill, it's life-altering. Fury stresses that even an injured Joshua would dispatch Paul within minutes. His bluntness offers fans a brutally honest glimpse at the scale of the mismatch. Jake Paul's YouTube confidence.
Well, if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. That automatically.
And social media persona are meaningless in the face of Joshua's force, experience, and ring IQ. By referencing personal experience and guidance from his father, Fury underscores the stakes and shows firsthand what it takes to survive against elite heavyweights. David Benavidez highlights Joshua's unparalleled pedigree, Olympic gold, multiple world championships, and a career defined by dominance over opponents who even slightly underestimate him. Benavidez reminds everyone that stepping into the ring with Joshua is never a casual gamble. It's real boxing, and one mistake could be catastrophic. He emphasizes that this isn't a spectacle or a publicity stunt. This is survival, where fame and confidence cannot protect an inexperienced fighter. Tyson Fury offers a more controversial take,
Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, he's multiple-time champion, Olympic gold medalist. You know what I mean? The last time somebody stepped in the ring with him that didn't have that much boxing experience was Ngannou, and you've seen what happened to him.
Adding a counterpoint to the overwhelmingly cautious consensus. He sees potential in Jake Paul's growth, increased size, confidence, and physical presence that could theoretically challenge a veteran like Joshua. Fury doesn't dismiss the danger. He frames the narrative as a collision of momentum versus experience. While many focus solely on Jake's inexperience, Fury highlights the possibility that physical evolution and confidence might intersect with vulnerabilities in Joshua, creating a scenario where preparation, timing, and hype collide. This perspective forces fans to consider outcomes beyond the predictable narrative. Fury's approach acknowledges risk, but also highlights a hypothetical scenario where an evolving, bigger, and more confident Jake could exploit rare openings. Spencer Oliver offers a pragmatic perspective.
I don't know about chewing up. I think Jake Paul knocked him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Perspective, focusing on Joshua's motivations. For AJ, fights are strategic, tied to career management, finances, and legacy. Warm-up fights are calculated, designed to maximize opportunity while minimizing risk. Oliver questions whether Jake Paul is even appropriate opposition for a fighter of Joshua's stature. The mismatch isn't just physical, it's reputational. Oliver frames the bout as a calculated gamble, showing that while the spectacle may sell, the decision carries both risk and responsibility. The fight is as much about timing and strategy as it is about skill, and Oliver reminds viewers of the broader implications for Joshua's career. As the analysis converges, the reality becomes clear. Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua is a gamble with potentially catastrophic consequences.
Well, Anthony Joshua is talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and the way that Joshua was here and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way. But
I don't like it
no,
either.
I don't like it either. But the way that Joshua is here is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking?
From Tommy Fury's stark clarity, Eddie Hearn's promoter caution, and David Benavidez's historical perspective, to Tyson Fury's controversial forecast, and Spencer Oliver's pragmatic insight, the consensus is unanimous. The odds are stacked. Experience outweighs hype. Anthony Joshua's pedigree, power, and Olympic-level skill dominate the narrative. Any illusions of competitiveness Jake Paul might harbor are quickly dismantled. Fans are left questioning not just the outcome, but the very premise of the matchup. This isn't mere spectacle. It's celebrity versus legend, hype versus mastery. The fight exposes the limits of social media bravado and contrasts it with real-world consequences in the ring. Every prediction, every expert opinion, every breakdown of sparring footage points to the same conclusion. Stepping into the heavyweight arena with Anthony Joshua